Welcome to Success on Your Terms, the podcast where we challenge the conventional, break free from the noise, and redefine what success really means for you. I'm your host, Natty Potts, and in each episode, we're diving into unfiltered perspectives on business and life because success isn't one size fits all. We'll explore how entrepreneurs are thinking differently, taking bold actions, and creating their own rules. Get ready to rethink how you approach growth, strategy, and the true meaning of success. It's time to stop following the crowd and start building your business your way. Lottie, welcome to the podcast. Delighted to have you on. We're just literally getting into conversation. I'm like, just stop.
I
Like
know.
we'll get it in the podcast because it's all gold dust. Introduce yourself, what you do, and something completely random.
Okay, hello. My name is Lottie. I am co-director with my hubby now, Virtual Lottie. It's a virtual assistance and social media agency. And I have a second business, which is Lottie Coaching, which is Lottie Doherty. And I run a coaching program for wannabe virtual assistants or full-time virtual assistants who just want to scale and live that freedom-based lifestyle.
Love it.
And you asked me a real funny thing about me.
Could be funny, could be random.
Oh my gosh. I have traveled 8 countries and 3 continents in the last 18 months.
Love that. Where was your favourite?
Probably New Zealand,
Hmm.
down. Like I did Asia and Australia, but with New Zealand, it was like every corner you turn was just different landscape, different views. And I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. So like I had to go see The Hobbit and all of that. So yeah, it was amazing. And doing it in a camper van was just like a tipping point.
It's so interesting. This is why I always ask the random stuff. And if you listen to my podcast, you'll always hear me say, I love the random point because it's the stuff like beyond our what do we do? It's the stuff that connects you to something deeper. And that's the key
Yeah.
for me. And we're looking right now, we're getting married next April, which is super exciting. And
Congrats.
thank you. We're looking at where do we go for honeymoon, and we've literally debated about do we do Aussie? Do we do our friends? We just went to a wedding to our friends 2 weeks ago who were 5 years out in New Zealand and just come home
Wow.
to Devon. So yeah, they love it. And then we were like, do we do the Maldives thing, which everybody does? Do we do Thailand? So yeah, we're very up in the air and just mapping ideas out and what we like. But we do we do like just chilling, but we also just like going and doing things. And I think that might tick.
Yeah, it's got a really good connection. The only thing I would say is the internet over there is appalling. It's like 1960s style. So, and the way the lifestyle is very chilled. We loved it.
That's
I
what
would definitely say the south is way better than the north. However, the beaches in the north are insane. If you go at the right time, like December, January is good summertime, I'd highly recommend it because you'll never do it again. Like once you've got kids and everything else, it just changes
and
everything.
that's where we are. And so yeah, it's so interesting. And like you just say, that's the part. We live in a country, I think, that is very on their phones the whole time, constant. And we very much switch off a lot then the weekends or days off. And it's around then less of that. So it's yeah, complete switch. But let's jump into what you do and who you help because it's so important around we want to tap into a bit around showing up authentically with
Yeah,
yeah, but also around the organic side because there's so much noise around ads, a lot.
yeah.
And I think that presents a pressure for people, feeling that, what if I'm not doing ads? Am I going to get results and things like that? And the reality is we all start somewhere. And yeah, I think if I look back to when I started my business 4 years ago, there would have been things at that time where I could have easily put myself in the boat of, oh, I'm just not there, I won't even start. So I'm very aware of that for clients. Um, what do you, what are some of the things that you think are really important for us to be knowing about right now when it's creating content online for organic growth?
I think it's just being yourself. I think like, and don't be afraid to just put yourself out there. Like I have a disco bloom in the background. I got some posted notes on the side. I'm wearing like you wouldn't even know I'm wearing trackies underneath now. And now I'm showing you. Like I've always been quite authentic with the way I come across online because I think that is where you show the humanized version of you and your brand.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be swearing or being inappropriate or anything like that because at the end of the day, you're still having to sell yourself to people, but it's being your authentic self in a way that is still with a business mindset within that as well. Like, there is a fine line and
Mm.
when you're crossing over it. Like, I do bloopers because I think it's funny. and
Mm.
I'm quite a goofy character and I love the color pink. So my branding on Lottie Doherty is all pink. But I think it's so important to be yourself. And one of the things that you mentioned about, I think also keeping it really, really simple. Like, who is your ideal client? Not niche, not property, not industry, just who?
Yeah.
Picture the perfect person and then go, okay, what are their problems? And I think people just pin out the problems as well, like, oh, you're struggling with X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, picture their real life examples. Like
God, yeah.
oh my gosh, one of the things that we always talk about in the Virtual Lottie brand is like, are you still sat on your phone at 8 o'clock at night because you forgot to do your post this morning that needed to get out there? And now you're sat there tapping away, creating a graphic at 8 o'clock when you should be relaxing in front of like watching Netflix and chilling with your husband, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
But difference between me saying, are you struggling to find time to do your socials, and the real life example I just gave you, what a difference, and where would that resonate with you? I think just really knowing a person and being that fly on the wall is a big thing.
Yeah, it's so important. I remember I worked with years ago, I started working with a coach who was in the fitness space because very, very different to what I saw others doing with business.
Mm.
And I liked how he worked. And within 2 months, he said, can you come in? I was doing personal development coaching at the time, years ago. And he said, can you come in and coach my PTs? He had about 30, 40 PTs. He was taking them from gym floors to being online coaches. And so I helped them on their confidence, personal development and stuff. And it was so important to just actually really tap into their pain points and fitness is easier, I think, to do it in some ways, but it's
Want to
that
lose 2 pounds in 5 weeks?
yeah, but it was like, we weren't talking about stuff like, like want to lose weight. It was like, do you look in a mirror and see that tie around your belly and think, I'm fat,
Yeah.
ugly? Do you have sex with the lights off? Like, and people be like, oh my God, but that's the truth of what it used to be. Like, do you walk down a beach and just want a guy to wink at you and you think, oh my God? But it
And do
means
you know what? It
it's that
hasn't
type of thing.
changed. It
Yeah,
hasn't changed. It's still marketing psychology 101.
yeah, and it's that being able to really think around the yes, you're right, problem symptoms points, but it's really delving into that. What like, if I wrote that out and connected it on a deeper level, what's the stuff they're really saying in their head? I'm always saying to clients, people don't wake up in the morning and say, I want a mindset coach or I want a confidence coach. They want the result of what that brings them and a next step. And that's what they're focusing on. They're in that real depth, and that's where we have to really connect with people. And I
Yeah.
think lots of people um, I think they see it like such a tick box exercise. When we look at ourselves, we're often changing quite a lot. Right? We
Yeah.
change what we want, what we need. We're always evolving in things. And we need to do the same with whether it's ideal client messaging and everything is understand that point and just do that check-in. It doesn't have to take ages, but we do have to be really close to it. Post like, yeah, I know them really well. And I was like, but do you?
And also, it's looking like, okay, how do you do that self? Like, you know what I mean? It's not just a tick box, it's actually knowing your ideal client. One of the things that we do within the industry is we actually do market research with dream clients. So if I wanted to work with a 5, 6 figure coach, right, I'd go and have a market research call with 3 or 4 different types of coaches, like a mindset, confidence, wellness, whatever that is. So
Yeah.
I can get a full view. And I actually ask them, like, right, you talk to me about your struggles. Now let's dig a little bit deeper here. Like, actually tell me, like, picture a day in the life of you. Why is this problem happening? What are you doing that's not allowing you to do that? And they're like, oh, my kid was crying at like 3 a.m. And then when you start picturing that, you can go, market. There you go. That's a good marketing speech. Actually, I'll tell you what, a little gold nugget for anyone on the call listening, or yourself, Natalie. Have you heard of Fathom?
No.
So Fathom is a free app that can be joined onto your Google Calendar. So any meeting, it will pop in. It'll be a note taker, like AI note taker, but it also does a transcript for free for you.
Oh, amazing.
You could copy and paste a transcript into ChatGPT and go, please give me an overview and give me real life scenarios from this conversation that I can now use in posts in the future. And they give you like a whole range of stuff that you've had in the conversation. So, like a call like today, if we were having a discovery call or whatever, we don't need our cute little post notes. We just can literally just have a civilized conversation have like questions up on the screen next to you, and you could just hit the ground running and just really get to know each other and have a conversation rather than it being like a interview.
I love that. That is so important, a completely different way of working. And let's just break out. So I jumped on the call and I have loads of post-it notes. And then I saw behind you, you've got post-it notes on the wall. And I was like, that's my kind of girl.
Yeah.
What were yours for though? It's like mine were just rambling notes in my head. What were yours for? Because I liked how we were talking around this. And then just said, stop
Yeah.
talking, let's get it in the podcast.
I know, I love that. Basically, when we got on the call, Natty was like writing notes and everything, and then I mentioned about, oh, mine are totally different for that. So I did a workshop with a mindset coach recently, and she was talking about like we all go through stages where we need brain breaks, but
Yeah.
as directors, we probably don't really do that. So we're like, no, just power on through. Like it's just something that we have just been brought up to do. But actually, brain breaks are so much better for you because you'll just come back with such a different mindset. So one of the things that came up in a phone call was, what do you do to get out of a funk? Okay, Natalie, for example, what would you do to get out of a funk?
I go for a walk.
You go for a walk. Interesting. I went the opposite. I was like, whether I'm in a funk, that means that I'm being a bit scatty and I have to now go back into my to-do list and I'll like prioritize the list. And she went, stop. She was like, you're getting back into work mode rather than just doing something different.
Yeah.
So I've now got post-it notes of ways to get myself out of a funk in a positive way that's more personal based, not work. So one of them is sing your heart out to your favorite tune, um, dance to your favorite song, um, go for a walk. One of them was really nice, was 5 minutes eyes shut, just
Mm,
calm, no noise, and just listen to your heart breathe. Your heart, your
yeah.
heartbeat, just breathing. There was one I really liked, which was like change rooms and change the
Okay.
music. So then
Yeah.
you've just got a different atmosphere, like go to a cafe.
Yeah, they're big things, but they make well, they're small things in a way as well, but make big differences. And the environment's a huge one. Um,
Yeah.
it is so important. I guess like some of the buzzwords I think sometimes we talk a lot around now about the nervous system regulation things as well. And uh, frank for me, it's like, what do I do really well? It just kind of switches me off for a minute. And one of those is always a walk. Like I said to you before, I'm going to go on a call. I'll probably go to the gym after this. Like
Yeah.
that space out and just getting some time with my headphones on my own, just running, doing something good, feeling good. I like my little Shakti pin pad mat thing, and yeah, it's just different things that again switch me and take me to a different place. I used to have a coach years ago who it was really weird at first, but it was weird because it's different and that's not familiar. But we would come on to calls and he'd invite it. He said if you didn't want it, we didn't have to do it. But we would do a 5 minute meditation. So he'd pop, I think he had like a Peloton app at the time, and he would pop that on, and we would just do a meditation for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and whatever it was just randomly
Mm.
picked. And it felt a bit weird at times. And I used to then do it with clients, and it worked really well. But and sometimes people don't want it, which is fine. But just sometimes it's that we have to actually invite that and force it a bit more, and people just we're just going to do something really different and we're just going to take this time out. And like you just said, I like the idea of closing my eyes one for a minute or just breathing and
Well, you just give me headspace. I was like, there you
but
go.
it's
One
just
more.
something like the senses and all those
Yeah.
things that when we're in such a mode, a bit like we're coming to back to the New Zealand part of we're living in this kind of robotic and next thing and working all the hours still and supposed to be loving our businesses, but people are also not enjoying their businesses and what they're doing. And then they're getting out content that's not organic and not real and just ticks a box, like you say, that something's got to 8 o'clock
Yeah.
at night and it's like, crap, I haven't done that. And it's actually not then serving them. And then they're just going in that vicious cycle over and over again.
I also don't know about you, but you can tell when it's a load of rubbish, like it's not actually from that person. Like it's really, really obvious. And I think it's so much more authentic now to be a personal brand. Whether you've got 3 or 4, 5 staff members, get them involved. Like
Yeah.
there's so much more personalization behind brands now. And that's such a big thing this year. Like you said, be personal. So just be like, just have one post that you go out and every week and go, right, that post, we're going to wait until something really cool happens or like something that's inspired you. I started the diary of a VA.
Love
So,
that.
yeah, so I'm doing a weekly diary entry of like a bad thing that's happened. I don't know. I fired 2 clients this week and it was nothing on them or nothing on us, just wasn't the right fit. And I was like, but the
Yeah.
starting point, you're like, Like you're immediately hooked, like what happened? And it's like, oh, it's nothing like that. But it's like that's what happened in the agency, and the VAs love it because they're like, oh my God, it's not always rainbows and unicorns and sprinkles. And it's like, just be
Yeah,
you.
that is so important. I do, I guess this came from working with my own mindset coach about creating reasons for people to come towards you as well. And
Yeah.
similar to that, I do the weekly debrief, which is it invites me to look at my week because I get to the end of weeks and think I haven't actually achieved much, or I think all I've done is work, and then I think doing that just gave me a challenge to be one more grateful for things, but two see that I am doing other things as well. Um,
Yeah.
but just having that focus to reflect on how's the week gone, and like maybe I've got some clients now, I do weekly takeaways, weekly wrap ups. But it's
Yeah.
that time to just reflect and say, what went really well this week? What did I, like, what did I love? Where did I give time to my health, relationships, beyond work as well? And get across those things that are important to you that actually, again, like we said, is the stuff that connects beyond what you do and the stuff that people really buy. Because that's the stuff that is going to get them in conversations with you and is going to lead the way to you growing a business.
I think it's just being authentic, isn't it? It's really interesting you said that because I do journaling, which sounds like you might potentially do as well, just like within business. It's
Some
more,
bits, yeah. Not,
yes.
I think it's more of an informal thing. I've never
Yeah. And I
thought,
love that
but yeah,
because I don't do that for my business. I do, like, we have weekly calls where we go, right, how did it go? Why didn't this work? Like a normal tick the box thing. I'm actually thinking I tick boxes now. But we don't, I loved your weekly debrief because actually it's just your time to sit there and go, and actually makes you feel good about it as well. Because I
yeah,
don't think we as business owners have enough time to like absorb and sit down and go, oh my God, we signed a client today. I haven't been able to like take that in yet. We got a trophy as well through the post, and I haven't even been able to like take that in.
it's what was your trophy for?
Um, multi-award winning agency.
Amazing. But these are the
Yeah.
things, right? It's celebrating that and saying we were recognised for this and how amazing that is, and just taking that moment to take it in
Yeah.
and slow down. It's a really interesting part, and I think when you can weave in some of this is the stuff that really can change with who you start to attract and the
I
conversation you
agree.
have. And it's how like I'm getting great conversations on podcasts right now because it's like you're attracting somebody. I find lots of people like the fact that it's like, well, it's right down my alley because it's success on your terms, and everybody has a different definition of success
I
and what it means
agree.
to them. And being a the whole point came about by wanting to change the narrative on, well, what does success really mean to people? And it doesn't have to be wrapped up in money, and it doesn't, or it can be, but it's again, it's completely defined to that individual, and that's what's most important.
It's really interesting we had this conversation because I was just on a call with someone who was like wanting to talk to us about our onboarding systems. She was like, so what do you want out of your business? And I was like, calmness. I was like, I don't mind. Every business will have its challenges, right? You always have a challenge every week, something you'll need to learn from, everything. But I just want to be, this year, I wanted contentment. I want calm. Like, it's not about the money anymore for me. Like, I thought it was, but it's not. It's actually
Yeah.
having a good life that you enjoy and you have time for you and your business, but also enough time to just take a step back, reflect, have a weekly debrief, have a CEO day.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who's got time for that? And it's just sitting there going, oh my God. So she was like, well, why don't you want to, level up and all stuff? And I was like, I'd rather have less clients,
Yeah, same.
have a really good relationship with them.
100% is exactly where I operate the business. So I can live in worlds where, it also comes down to marketing. You see, why do you want to be in theirs? They only got small people. And then I'm like, why would I want to be in theirs and just a number? That's why I was in corporate and that's why I left.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I,
why we all
it
left.
just became a number to them and the name. And I was like, I want more than that. I want people to feel a sense of achievement. I want people to commit, and sometimes that does have to add a bit of a price thing to get the commitment. However, I
Agree.
want to manage affordable, and it's that, isn't it? It's meeting that in the middle, and it's never a black and white always on that. But I
Never.
guess, like we all know, most people who pay more commit, but not always. But it's sometimes then I've worked with people where they'll make bigger investments, and again, like it's subjective, isn't it, with money and all those things, high ticket and everything. But someone invests like 15 grand to work one to one. It's like, but like they can come with big expectations, or there's different pressures, or their drive's so intense and they just don't focus on themselves because they just work, work, work. And it's like, I don't want to work with somebody like that. That's not what I want. So it's so important to really, like you said at the start, think around the ideal client who you want to work with, the mindset, but also the business. And actually know, like you've just said, that you can change that. That's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, my ideal client when I first started is way different to now. Like, and I'm sure your social media is was totally different to the way that you set it now.
Yeah.
And you're constantly changing with your business, with the way that you are. And that's okay. And I think it's just look, I would say, like, every quarter, remind yourself who your ideal client is.
Yeah. 100%. Did you start with, like you said, you got the Lottie coaching side as well? And then is that broad coaching? Is it specific? And then where
Virtual
did the
assistants.
agency come in with that? Was that before or after?
Well, what the agency? So
Yeah.
I started off just me. I used to be a primary teacher before this,
Oh,
but before that,
wow.
I was in property. So I was like a negotiator. My parents own a letting agency, so that was quite convenient in that side. But we all just don't want to be working for our parents and our family and want to find our own
Yeah.
way. So I went to uni, did acting, totally different. And
Oh,
then
sorry. Where did you go?
I went to Bath Spa.
Oh, I looked at Bath. I did St Mary's University in Twickenham.
Did you? I did look at St Mary's.
I looked at,
I was ending up going to go to Basingstoke at one point. But I was like, no, Bath is pretty. Oh wow.
oh,
And but it ended up being so small. Um, and then I was like, oh, okay. Acting is like, gosh, it's so hard because you're just blind most of the time. And I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna travel. So I went traveling for like 5 years, met my partner, doing like a teaching English as a foreign language course. And then within like 6, 7 years, we're both like, well, teaching's easy, let's do it in the UK. That's complete like
it's not.
no, I quit within 2 years. But I'm actually quite okay with that because I had low expectations and we did during COVID, so that didn't help either. I was working like Monday to Saturday, 7 till 8 o'clock at night. And Luke was helping me stick in stickers at one point just to give kids like, well done. These are like 5-year-olds, by the way. So and then we found out some really bad news about a friend. And I was like, do you know what? Life's too short. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't live my life on other people's terms. Like,
Yeah.
you live once, right?
Yeah.
And then
And
I saw the VA thing on TikTok and I was like, no way, is that legit? And then I met a real life VA who was on my musical theatre program. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, right, I'm gonna do it. I took her for a cake and coffee, and basically the investment gave me like 1,000%, trillion% really, because it's just I didn't stop. I quit. I started, it was just me, I was fully booked within 2 months, took on one associate, had 12 by the end of my first year. And then about in a year and a half in, I was on really good money, but I was back to where I started. And I was like, okay, I'm losing why I started my business, which was for 9 to 5. All I wanted was 9 to 5. I didn't want 7 to 8. I was complete opposite to what everyone else wanted. And then I was like, hey Luke, did you want to come and like work with me? And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. We've been together 10 years and we worked together before, so I knew it would work. And then we went traveling for a year with the VA business,
wow.
virtual assistants, the virtual agency. And then last year, I had a couple of VAs ask me for like power hours. And then that slowly built up to when I invested in a coach. And that's a business coach who did coaching as well as had a VA agency. She was like, you'd be really good as a teacher. I was like, oh, funny that. I was a teacher. And it just naturally pursued that. So I'm basically run the second business now, and Luke does all of Virtual Lottie.
I love that. It's so interesting, isn't it? And the agency must be so useful for people right now because people need that help, don't they?
Yeah, it's getting to a point now where it's so sporadic in essence of like we help coaches. That's our kind of like, and our marketing is kind of where we specialize in, which is why the authentic engagement and the authentic organic social media is where we specialize in because I've had to really invest in my time and really invest in like the marketing psychology. Is just the biggest lesson I learned was it's so basic, but it's so real. Like, we're talking about the real life scenarios.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's literally just fitting into people's real life problems and you'll get clients quite quickly. That's all it is. So simple, but it takes time to
Yeah.
learn that. And it's tough to learn as well if you don't have the knack for it.
If you're enjoying this episode and want to simplify your business while making it work for you on your terms, my mastermind could be exactly what you need. It's designed to help you refine your messaging, streamline your strategy, and accelerate growth, all while aligning with your vision. If you're ready to stop overcomplicating things and build a business that truly works for you, DM the word podcast across social platforms to learn more. Now, let's jump back into today's episode.
But yeah, that's kind of like where we're going with it now. How did you get your business started?
So mine was all around. I was corporate for 19 years, and then it's always a funny story, but this is how it comes out. I met a guy through Tinder who was a coach, and he was personal trainer coaching, and he kept asking me about values and stuff. And I was like, well, what is he going on about? And then he was like, go and start reading like The Secret and look at this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it started to kind of like, I was like, this is really interesting and very different from the what I was into. And then I started researching like becoming a coach. I was like, I wonder how I can do this. And because exactly like you said, my dad had done very well in retail, worked 37 years, I think, retired at 52.
Wow.
Yeah, his love license is 52, which is amazing. But I didn't want that path. And because I'd left uni, I did drama degree, wanted to go into acting school in London, then realised that I'd have to work for 2 or 3 years to become a mature student for Central School of Speech and Drama. And I was like,
Yeah.
was earning money and I was like, why would I do that? So I was like, ooh, got hooked with the money. So the drama stuff, I thought, okay, like it's so competitive. And this is when people talk about business, I'm like, yeah, but there are worlds out there that are super competitive for stuff. That's one of them. And I guess I didn't really have the patience to do that. And yeah, did well at corporate. I always say success was linear at the time.
Yeah.
I grew really quickly. Um,
I think people just have a knack for it, and some people don't.
Yeah, I think it's people, and I was just very good on leading people and getting stuff done, and I just had an eye for it, and I loved it, and that was a difference. You got to love what you do. I'm big on this, and I loved it until, and I said it worked until it didn't work, and then I went for again. I qualified as corporate coach, personal performance coach, done CPD, won CPD Coach of the Year, so loads of great things with that.
Wow.
Then mentoring started coming my way. So it's like a path again of like then people coming to me for mentoring. It's like, okay, I'll help you on this. And it was a lot of coaches. I attract a lot of
Yeah.
people because of that background. I mentored at the coaching academy for 4 years,
Wow.
which was again great to do. And still gets leads now. Like somebody popped up on my LinkedIn the other day, and it's what I'm saying to people, just get out there,
Yeah.
do trainings, do mentoring, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And
The
she came in
opportunities and learning.
massive. But she said to me, oh, I saw you on a coaching academy mentoring call. And I was like, 3 years ago. So
Wow.
she's
So
still on
still
there. And
supporting
she
you
said, it's
today.
really useful. What you shared was great. So I thought I'd connect with you. I'm like, okay, no brainer. So it's again, like I'm really curious where people have come from and the connections. It's just a warm lead straight away. It's never cold.
Yeah.
And then that went into like actually mentoring was great, started courses, but I was like, I don't love them. And then my coach I was working with at the time, I mean, I do make substantial investments. I've always said that, like came from corporate knowing I knew business very well, but I didn't know how to run a business. Very, very different.
You
And
know the people that are done well because they have invested in themselves. And I think that's the only way that you can benefit other people as well. Because when you invest, you're actually investing in your growth as well as your clients.
100%. And that's why, a bit like we said at the start, like, delivery mode right now is heavy, but I can't beat being in connections and conversations like this because I'm learning so much. I'm just
Yeah.
in it. You're in the trenches. And I don't think there's a better way to grow your business. When you've got a problem, ask your clients. They've got the answer. Like most of the time, they've got the gold dust, yet we sit as the blocker most of the time and a bottleneck of our own businesses. So guess let's unpack then. And then my mentor said, I love what you do with messaging and I think that's your skill. And I was like, how? So anyway, I worked with her for a solid year on that, build the audience again because it wasn't quite the right audience, and stick at the one thing off that way in terms of being known for the main thing at the minute. Love it, doing really well, simplified the business model and offers last year because it was too much. And then I think just sticking to that. And like you say, I don't do any offers that I don't love at all. We've just literally
Yeah.
retreat out there today. Me and one of my clients, Sam, because we just love stuff like that. We get on really well. doing things together, like you see with your husband, it just
Yeah.
is a massive difference than doing it on your own. We work very similar. We just get on, and we know that we'll bring something fun and incredible for our clients with that. So it's a no-brainer. And it's beyond the money. I love money. I'm very driven, but if I don't love what I do, I just can't do it. It's
No,
impossible.
I think you get a bit lost with it as well. Like that's what we got to, where we were like, to scale, we'd have to put more work in. And I was like, I'd rather just invest in bringing in someone who has more strengths than I do in that area
Get
and
it done.
really focus on what we're good at. And actually, it's just got to like similar to you, like we've invested in a bigger coach now, same one, but like one-to-one basis. And that's our thing. It's all about like doing what we love and what we enjoy. Because you can easily lose out of love with it if you're not doing the right things. And it's constantly remind yourself, like, why did you start your business? Was it to work longer hours or was it to be stressed? No, it was to simplify things. And like you said, like, that's something I should think about is services offerings. Like you could simplify your service offerings to the point where it's like, it's this and this, which we have done already. But as a what it's like as an entrepreneur, you see something, you go, oh,
I know it is, and I think it's an interesting one we've been speaking about in a few different podcasts. Is looking at how you improve the experience of what people have right now and investing
yeah,
in that and making that even better. Because
yeah,
that's again like you could just go and create another offer and fill a gap, yes, and that may be needed, but are you doing it just to because one didn't land and it's just like I need the next one? Because you're going to probably be in the same situation with how you approach it and what you're putting out there, or like you say, like who you're speaking to as your ideal client with your message or what you're helping them on. It's you've got
yeah.
to do that work first and evaluate things and have, I'm a great believer, which you said earlier, a CEO day once a month.
Oh my God, we do it weekly now.
Do you?
We do, but it's in line with the business. So for example, like for me, I've like rebranded all Lottie Doherty because I'm a big pink girl. So you could
Right.
pink because I'm nervous. Uh, Pink up here. You can't really see it, but like there's lots of pink just
Yeah.
everywhere in the room. Oh yeah, pink. And it's sly, but this is like all out pink. So I've gone right. I've just invested in like rebranding me. But I don't know if you agree or not, but within your so we have some we've decided like only to take on clients that believe it's a 50-50 job. Like they need to put in as much effort as we do. It's not just it's social media buy. It's like, no, you do have to put the work in because you're the brand at the end of the day. We're not. We can put it all together, make it look good, but we need your voice. We need you incorporated because you live in, I don't know, Denver. I live in Bournemouth. So we've got to a point now where we actually take on clients that want to be involved at the same time because they love their business and they want to make it work on both sides. Like we're very much collaborative
Yeah.
more than we'll do it for you and that's it. You're gone and dusted because we found there's so much more. We've seen more success with clients who are also hands-on, like doing stories on Instagram. What a difference that makes to someone's business, just being in stories.
Yeah, I'm massive on it, but it's a different audience. It's a different audience to your feed.
Yes, it is.
And that again, they're in a different space potentially. And that's where you're right. But it's like when I've had some calls and people say, well, how do I know it works? Like, well, how do I know you will? Like, quite
Yeah,
frankly, onto you, I can give you the tools, strategies, and I'll help you with where you're at and I'll meet you where you're at and give everything I can. But if you're not going to put the work in, this
yeah,
isn't done for you because it just doesn't work that way. And
no,
we're in an economy right now where a lot of people want the quick result. And we come back to the consistency, doing the work, getting out there. And yeah, that's the difference with the people that we want to work with. And I think, like you say, like when we show up authentically speaking in that way of what we stand for, what we don't stand for, that's the stuff that then differentiates us to be the people to go to.
yeah. I saw a really good juxtaposed post the other day, and it was like the people we don't want to work with, and it's actually like people who don't want to make X amount of figures by being involved in it. Like, and they did it the other way. And I was like, oh, I love that because it's like you said, it's cutting out the people that are like, oh no, some of the clients we used to have just wanted stock imagery. And I was like, I can't work with that. Like, it's not authentic enough for people to really connect with. I also was really interested in, I had a LinkedIn expert come into my VA coaching program and she was saying how because I'm very heavy on Instagram I've also got a Facebook group, but I'm very heavy on Instagram because I just love it. It's just so nice. It's pretty, and I love all that kind of like pink, glittery unicorn stuff, as you can tell. And she was saying how have I utilized LinkedIn? And I was like, to be fair, when I first started, I did because I knew it was like the it's more of like a workspace platform, isn't it? Like people have that work mindset, whereas Instagram, it's more like friendly and getting to know people. Whereas
Yeah.
with LinkedIn, you could probably have a disco conversation quite quick. I call disco like discovery call, like
Oh, yeah.
potential client conversation way earlier. Like you could have it within a few days and go, I've seen that you don't do social media very often. Why is that? I'd love to know. Have you ever utilized it? And you can just get straight into conversation and people don't even bat an eyelid. Whereas
Mm.
if I do with someone on Instagram, they'll be like, no, don't want to have this conversation. Like, what different audience type?
It is very different, and it's, I guess, as a part with network, it's networking predominantly LinkedIn that's different, and it's how
So
you use
different.
that. And again, but knowing back to your part, you said the importance of market research. Think people don't do it well,
I
um,
agree.
and the again, it's that go and ask your clients for the gold dust type of things. It's what's the language they're using. Like I love a discovery call, sales call, whatever, for because the language I use is so important, and then I use that in my content because it's just going to
Yeah.
connect. I remember I ran a challenge last year, and um someone who's a client now, but she was like, my messaging's messy. Or like just say a certain way, and I'm like, okay, well, if she says that and she's my ideal client, or my ideal client, my like a majority of my clients say the same thing, I'm going to use that for more clients, aren't I?
Yeah, and you'll find that things will mirror who are your ideal client because you'll be like, oh, hang on, messy messaging is going
Yeah,
to be my like
yeah.
know-it-all now. It's funny, I'm going to steal that now and put it in my content. You'll be like, ah!
But it's so important. And it's like when someone comes on stage and like, oh, it just feels like cricket's out there. And I was like, yeah, I've heard this enough times.
Oh my God, crickets, cricket,
It's a big one. It's just so interesting.
void. There's
But
void as well. You're talking to the void. You're throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm like, no.
look, I get it. I can sit here and give the stuff of like we can say just be authentic and just be this, but we also know that business is business. And like I had a client the other day and I said, like, you need to say something like call in a quiz. I was like, are you ready for this? She was like, no, I just like everybody uses that. I don't want to use it. And I was like, okay, great. Let me just can I challenge you? She was like, yeah. I was like, let's just take the rebel about out a bit because that may work. If those people use it because it works. And sometimes, yes, there's a part of getting out there differently, but there's certain things that we can't, like, we don't want to always go against the grain on.
Yeah,
Or is this more about your mindset with an approach to the fact of how you come across and someone judging you being the same versus actually if you took that out of the way and you reached more people that needed you and you helped more clients, which one would you default to? You'd want to help people, right?
100%. Have you heard about like, there's also the transformation theory where it's like, I believe in every single post, you should be showing some sort of transformation that you've
Okay.
done for the client.
Yeah.
So, you can write a problem aware content and go, this is your problem and this is what you should be doing. Okay, that's educational, but that's bringing in people who just want free education, right? So there's like the buyer journey, isn't there? It's like the people that are just going to be like, sneaking and looking. And then you've got the people who are like, I know I have a problem. I'm looking for a social media manager or an ads campaign manager, expert,
Yeah.
whatever. But who am I going to choose? And it's that point that they're going to start looking at your content, but they don't want to wait till 3 or 4 posts down to see what you've done for other clients. You should be mimicking transformation and results in every single post. So we do it where it's like, uh, this is exactly the same problem my client N went through. When they first came to me, like I give quite emotional stories because I'm quite an emotional lady. So
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, they were going through this, it was difficult. Blah, blah. Like I really like dramatic with it just through my acting style. But the type of clients I get are those like, oh no. It's so like we just have quite a bubbly conversation. But showing those transformations and showing people like, you're not alone. I
No.
had a client last week who went through the exact same thing. And the first thing we did was work on this and just go through one thing. Because I think sometimes people over deliver on content as well. That's another area.
Yeah, that's a huge thing and overwhelming. I did a bit of work on looking at email marketing a few months ago, and then I had a client, which then just sparked the interest in me. She was like, "I like your emails recently," and I was like, "What do you like in particular?" She was like, "They're just less." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, cool." And then you ask a few more clients, have you noticed a difference in emails? What do you think? Like that type of thing. Again, more research, go and understand.
Yeah,
And it was just like, she goes, I just don't like overwhelm. And that's a core thing is we're trying to plug so much at people. And it's just the one thing that gets you like, just focus on the simple message of what you're communicating with clarity, genuinely helpful as well. And I love the parts of transformations. I think they're so important. The fitness industry do it best, in my personal opinion.
of
Um,
course, because
it's
of
easier
like,
too. It
oh, I can see why.
is
I'm
easier.
sold on it all the time.
Right, but you are. Like I said to people, like, if you've joined a gym, I said, how many of you joined through Facebook ads? And people are like, yeah, some of us, a lot of people do. Like, my friend runs an incredible business, over 100K turnover a month just through
Wow.
Instagram and taking people from the gym floor to online. He's just built something absolutely, taken him years, but he's built something absolutely incredible, genuinely helping people. And he's always showing results. All he talks about is people with results and just
Because
getting
that's what
more
people
of it.
want. Yeah.
And that's
And
what people want.
and with fitness, it's like photographs really do it. It's like wedding industry. The photographer doesn't need to do anything because the photos do the
Do
work
it.
for them.
Do it.
That's how we found ours.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
same with us. We've just booked a photographer for already next year, and you go on. It's what do you like and what style, and it's someone talk about storytelling or someone talk about like someone's like just fun, and we just catch those moments. I'm like, okay, that's me, and it's that
Yeah.
thing. And do we like it? And then like we didn't wait because we knew what, like you said, we were top of the funnel, knowing what we wanted.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted a photographer, and I knew I wanted a certain style. But then when I see it, I just buy. The same when I was this year around I was working with my mentor and she says we need to do ads now. So we're going to roll into that. So then I started work and I was like, okay, my problem is I need to work with someone on ads. Who's the best person doing ads out there for me? So then it was going like a few people, like referrals and people I knew as well. And then literally like got two referrals for the same person and I was like, okay, looked at her offers and said, when can I book? Like what day can I do? And I'm in. So
That shows how powerful it is, doesn't it? So we've like I find so we've just added in our social media proposals for social media now. And people love that because they can go and look at the packages and go, well, I can't afford that. Or they can go, yeah, I'm keen, let's have a call.
yeah,
Like, how much easier is that now? And I've already got their details because all I wanted was their Instagram, their name, and their email. And I can go in and go, I noticed you downloaded it. Is everything okay? Like, how can I help? And it's just that personal touch. But honestly, like top funnel are top notch. That's all you
yeah.
want.
And
That's all you
it
want to focus on.
Yeah, and that is the key. I think, like you said, it's a bit earlier, is the simplicity in what you're doing is taking it step
Yeah,
by step, really thinking around how am I using social media really well? What do I want to be known for about it? And how can I build that in the right way all the time? Because there's plenty of opportunity out there right now where people feel it's like it's really hard or it's not connecting, but you just have to spend a bit more time really, like you said, just getting really specialist in what these things
I
are.
agree. I think it's all about simplicity and it's just going, okay, what pain are they going through? All right, I'm going to talk about that this week.
Yeah,
It's just bringing it back. Honestly, I think if you bring your business back to basics,
yeah.
it's a lot easier. And just planning ahead, I think that's the biggest thing. Like get ahead as soon as you can, because then you're not worrying about going every week onto your platform and going and rushing because it'll probably take you way longer than planning it
Yeah,
in
100%.
advance.
Lottie, we could probably talk all afternoon, which would be
I've
lovely.
loved it.
I've taken loads of little golden nuggets, which I love. I love the post-it thing as well, which is obviously
I
going.
know. How convenient.
I used to really, this is a funny story, years ago when I was in corporate, I used to, it's pretty male-dominated environments, but I had a team of mostly guys. And then so the girl, and my natural thing was like being a girl, you do all of the colleague stuff, the people stuff,
Yeah.
anything, yeah, all those types of things. And I just used to, when I was in, it'd be my lead day or something like that, and they'd always come in and be like, oh my God. And I would have all these post-it notes. I'd just do these little notes for them and just add them all along the by the PC and just all along it and stuff. And they'd be like, really? 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 But I was like, well, it works for me and it's useful. But yeah, I think they're super
Yeah.
handy.
They do. It's honestly, I've gone back to post-it notes for games recently because we're trying not to have board games. It's just like charades or like really, really simple things. Like post-it notes is just phenomenal. I have it for clients. I sometimes have it where I'm like, I haven't heard from them in a while. And I'll like just go and be like, is everything all right? And they're like, yeah, good. I'm like, all right. Then I'll move the post-it note to another side. It's really good for business as well. So like have a goal And you're like, but how am I going to get to that goal? And then you have more post-it notes. It's like a breakdown of how you're going to get to that one goal. And then I take it off every time I do it. Or losing weight, a pound a day. Have you heard about the 75-day challenge?
Yes. Not sure I'd do it, but have you done
Yeah.
it?
I'm on day 74. I
Amazing.
call it soft 75. You don't know what it is. It's basically like where you have 75 post-it notes because I did that. And then you take one off every day and it's just like sticking to like certain things. So I've done it. I got really well, but I started off really, really slow. Like I was like, right, each week I'll add a new target rather than doing everything at once because who's got time for that?
There is
So
a very, I can't remember what it's called, it's either 80 or something. There is a very intense one out there as well.
yeah, there's one where it's like 10K a day, work out 6 times a week,
Yeah.
no drinking, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And I was just like, I'll start at 5K. And then the next week I was at 5,500. And then I'd like increase it each week. I'm at 10 now. But at the
Brilliant.
beginning, I would never have imagined I got to 10. So I did it like
Yeah.
slowly.
Yeah. Makes a
People are
difference.
so funny. Oh, I
And
really wish I
lastly, of
could chat.
course, what does success mean to you?
Being happy in my work life as well as my personal life. And I've never felt a contentment that I have in my life right now.
Love that. Lots of people talk around the happiness part. It's probably the most poignant word that comes through quite a lot.
I think you just need to remind yourself every week because sometimes weeks can go by where you're like, why am I doing this? And then you need a
Yeah.
little vision board of like why you're doing it.
Yeah.
I have a seasonal vision board.
Well, mine, I have a yearly one, but it's interesting a seasonal one, but it's on my lap. It's always my laptop screen.
And when was the last time you ticked off something from that?
Gosh, that's a fair challenge. I don't know. I'd have to go and look.
Challenge accepted. Yeah, no, that's why it's seasonal for me now because I'm like, right, I have to at least get one or two things off, whether it's like, I don't know, there's a Montaditos, which is like the Weatherspoons version in Spain. And
Right.
it's I want to go to Montaditos
Okay.
because I love Montaditos in Spain. It's like €1.50 for breakfast, like a coffee and this like really lovely baguette and tomatoes and stuff. So I've already ticked it off because I booked a trip to Fortaventura and I've already found a Montaditos and we're going there. So I was like, well, I've ticked that off now, so I'm going to add a new one. So there's constantly new like exciting things to put on there. My next one's a Ray-Bans.
Okay. Interesting one.
Small things, right?
Yeah, that's great. Where can people connect with all of the amazing work that you're doing?
Virtual Lottie on Instagram or Lottie Doherty. It sounds like it's got a C, but it doesn't. It's Doherty, just Irish husband, underscore on Instagram.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, Natalie. Thank you too.
If this episode gave you something to think about, helped you in any way, or just made you feel seen, do me a favour, hit subscribe, leave a quick review, and maybe share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to dive deeper or need help, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.